We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet Rivers sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. It's Tuesday, the 4th of November. You're with Steve Wyss and Will White, and we are back to preview all of the Champions League games on the slate today, as per usual. Will, back on a Tuesday on this edition. How's it going? Did you have a good weekend?
Good day to you, Steve. Good day to everyone out there. Yeah, a bit weird to be in on a Tuesday. Normally, I'm used to coming in on a Wednesday and kind of talking about how many winners Nigel's had. But yeah, good to be here on a Tuesday to get things started for Betting Weekly Live Champions League coverage.
Yeah, let's get this party started. How did everyone get on yesterday? Lewis Jones, shout out to him. Daily double cashed. Lewis had a pretty good day, actually. Best bet won with the NDI shots. He was on the under in the Lazio game. Lazio got the job done for me as well. Biggest bet yesterday on the sports books with the soccer. Sassuolo, Genoa winning it in the last minute, of course. But $6,000 on over 1.5. So over 0.5 first half goals. That was a winner. Did you get involved with Serie A last night, Will, or not?
A little bit, yeah. I had a little bit of Genoa plus a quarter. So yeah, enjoyed that late winner. But I think Lewis was on that himself, wasn't he? He was on the draw no bet, I think.
Yeah, we both took it. It was it's funny, isn't it, how when you change the manager, the results just the first match is often a win, isn't it, or a positive result. But they played a very, very good first half, I thought, Genoa. And, you know, on their underlying metrics, they're more of a mid-table team. And I think they're one of them sides that will revert to that, actually. Yeah. I don't think they've got the ability to basically do it. So they're a team to watch out for going forward. Fiorentina have sacked their manager today, of course. Pioli is out of there, and they face each other at the weekend, which is an interesting one. But welcome in, everyone. Andrew Major, just want to give a shout out to him because he put his comment in really, really early today. He's betting on Slavia Prague to score a goal today. PSV win and over 1.5 goals. And he's really interested in that PSV game. PSV win and both teams score, yes. But welcome into you all. There's so many people already. Villa family, you're laying the draws again in this. It's been profitable again, I think, to lay the draws overall. Talking punting, Simon, what did you think of Everton last night? I have to say it was a bit tedious watching Everton in the second half. One shot in the second half from Everton yesterday. Disappointing from them. But we're on to the Champions League today. And as per usual, I've got to remind people of a special from Bet Rivers. Do tune in, sign into the Bet Rivers app or betrivers.com on any UEFA Champions League match day to receive a profit boost pack, which consists of 3 boosts, live wagers, same game parlays, and standard wagers on Champions League action. So don't forget that one. And we've got loads of house specials today, Will. At least 30 goals to be scored across the 9 Champions League matches today. Even money, plus 100. I've been waiting for that house special all year. And now it comes up again. 30 goals across the board. We'll have to decide by the end of the show whether that is a play or a fade. And then we've got specials in the Real Madrid game and the Bayern game, which I'll talk about later as well. But yes, let's start with the early kickoff. 2 early kickoffs. Napoli against Frankfurt. Minus 167 on Napoli. Frankfurt plus 440, and the tie is at plus 310. Eintracht Frankfurt coming into this match on the back of that big beating against Liverpool last time out. Napoli, I'm not sure I've been that impressed with Napoli recently, Will, myself. Minus 167 looks a bit too short for me here. I think they were plus money to beat Sporting at home. So how can there be minus 167 to beat Eintracht Frankfurt? I don't really. Is there that much of a difference between Sporting and Eintracht Frankfurt? I'm not sure. But anyway, Napoli at minus 167. Would they be for you here?
No, probably not. I'm not really impressed by Napoli either. They were actually plus money at home to Sporting Lisbon, basically B team. Sporting Lisbon rotated a lot of their lineup there. So yeah, not convinced by Napoli. Crazy to think they're actually plus 150 to win Serie A at the beginning of the season. And even though they're top, they're now out to plus 350, something like that. So their price has doubled, even though they're top. Just goes to show how unconvincing they've been. And then we've got Eintracht, 3-5-1s so far. I remember before the last time Eintracht played in the last match day, I wanted to say, could it possibly be a third 5-1 in a row? But I didn't mention it, and sod's law it was. What a crazy team, hey. And I'm just wondering is if Dino Topmuller maybe has tweaked his style a little bit after that Liverpool game, because they have seen the last 3 games have only seen 2 goals each. So I'm just wondering, I don't really watch that much of Eintracht myself. Maybe somebody in the chat can let me know what they think about that theory. But yeah, last 3 games since that Liverpool game, they have only seen 2 goals each. So maybe we've got a kind of new, fresh Eintracht Frankfurt here. Of course, Napoli are kind of an unders team, really, aren't they? Quite a few Serie A teams are unders teams these days. I think for me in this game, I would lean over 2.5 and both teams to score yes at minus 125, just because it's not often we get to see over 2.5-ish at a backable price on an Eintracht game. And then the player prop I really like, we cashed last time with Rasmus Højlund. He scored twice against Sporting in that game. He's minus 159 to just have a shot on target or more. And I keep harping back to that season when he played for Atalanta in Serie A. He hasn't really caught fire this season, but he did average 1.37 shots on target per 90 in that season with Atalanta. So yeah, over 2.5 with both teams to score yes, and then main bet being Rasmus Højlund shot on target.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of either team right now. There's a few comments about Eintracht Frankfurt in the comments, and they did play maybe a slightly different way against Heidenheim. In the DFB Pokal, they drew against Dortmund, of course, lost out on penalties. What I've noticed about Eintracht recently is they just look tired, as in, lacking energy. And I think, forget the defensive side of it, I think that affects them offensively as well. I don't know if they've got it in them now to sort of get involved in these shootouts and win the shootouts. They need this international break, really, I think. So I'm not, but Napoli equally, since they beat Inter, I think they've been a bit flat. They were lucky to beat Lecce, really. They survived and another missed penalty against them, I think, against Como. So they've not been that convincing either. And let's be honest as well, the manager in the Champions League doesn't have the greatest record down the years. So I'm a bit of a shame these teams are playing against each other, because I'd quite like to fade both. But we can't fade both. I mean, Napoli being back, they're minus 180 now. Eintracht Frankfurt are +1 on the Asian handicap at +112. The problem is they're the sort of team that if they lose by a big margin, don't they? They're not the sort of team that if they're losing by 1 goal, they'll throw the keeper up, and you'll lose a backdoor bet on your handicap bet. So I can't really get involved. But I can tell you where the money is. 88% of the money's on Napoli. 93% of the tickets are on them as well. 88% of the money's on the over. That's no real surprise. Asian goal line of 3. Both teams score yes at minus 155, as you mentioned there. That might be a good bet for someone. Real Brandon King says he likes the overs. Tristan says Frankfurt keeper must be exhausted from picking the ball out of his own net. It has happened. I mean, Tobias is right there. I think he's trying to get more stability in that defence. And it may well be, certainly after the international break, that their trends go in the under direction. Some thoughts there. What about McTominay, by the way, Will? He's always a really popular bet, isn't he, with people? I can tell you now his odds to score is just +175. But he does kind of raise it on the Euro stage. Rasmus Højlund +155 to score. Luke is actually the favourite in this market at +140 though.
Luke is suspended, so it won't be.
Is he out of this one?
I think he's suspended. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've got in my notes anyway. Yeah, Haaland for me.
Yes, he is out. Yeah, you're right.
Definitely the main man for Napoli here. And if he's the same price as McTominay to score, I'd much rather be with Haaland than McTominay.
De Bruyne being out, of course, is a big blow. But we move on to the other early kickoff in Prague. Slavia Prague 13-1 to beat Arsenal. Arsenal minus 455. I can't remember the last time Arsenal conceded a goal. It's quite a long time ago, isn't it? How many minutes is it? 900 minutes, someone said. They even went 3 games without conceding a shot on target, which is quite incredible. The tie's at plus 525. But, I mean, I've got to be honest here, Will. Arsenal, for me, they've had a great start in the Champions League. They're really doing well in the Premier League, and they've got a match against Sunderland at the weekend. Win that, and they're looking really, really promising heading into the international break. Could this be a flat spot for Arsenal? They've got a few injuries. They might not be focused. Is this the sort of night where they maybe not slip up, but don't produce their best?
It's hard to really say. I mean, they have got a lot of injuries. Gyökeres is out. Obviously, Zubamendi suspended. Martinelli is out. Madueke, amongst others. But I don't know. I don't think Arteta's got that in him to allow his team to have a letdown. This is the Champions League after all, and it's hard to really say. But I mean, they're big favourites, aren't they? minus 1.75 away from home at a Slavia team that I've kind of liked over the years. I've generally been higher than the market. I've always kind of thought they've been underrated, but in this spot, it's hard to have much confidence. They're not really the Slavia of old. They should have lost really convincingly last time out. Atalanta somehow got away with it, and they were mauled by Inter. They don't really offer much going forward, and we know about this Arsenal defence. Is it a flat spot for Arsenal? It could be, but I doubt it, and I doubt we'll see that much rotation outside of the injuries. So I think, I don't know, the main line for me, it's pretty fair. It's hard to find a side. I'd love to be with Slavia plus 1.75, but they're just so poor at the moment.
I think it would be like a cup final for Slavia Prague. And there's a danger that, Arsenal every now and then do throw in a clanger away from home in Europe. And it might be this game. But I kind of wish they were playing someone better, actually. They were playing, say, a mid-rank sort of European side. I would maybe oppose them here, but it's Slavia Prague, isn't it? There is ultimately still quite a big gulf in class between the sides. Steve Gregory says everyone's talking about Arsenal not conceding, yet Slavia haven't conceded in the first half in their last 5 games. 0-0 halftime score plus 220. He's interested there. I mean, yeah, I don't see many goals here. I think probably the under would be a good call. There was an interesting stat producer Troy sent me, though, over 2.5 goals has hit in 5 of Arsenal's last 6 Champions League away games. And we've all been burnt by some of those for some reason. So, I would look at unders more than... I mean, the goal line is, 3.25, is it?
No, it's not. It's 2.75.
I've got that mixed up then with another game. But, with that line, I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of tempted. It was flirting around 2.5 earlier this morning, and I was quite tempted by that. I've got my notes that I would be going that way if it continued getting a bigger price on the over 2.5. Just obviously it's a bit counterintuitive with Arsenal, but that's a very low line for such a big favourite.
That is too low.
But one player I do actually like here, Steve, is Eberechi Eze. If he starts, you don't really know what the lineup's going to look like. I'd imagine it's going to be full strength. Eze probably will start, but he's minus 129 to have a shot on target here. And I think with Gyökeres out, if he does start, he's going to be playing quite advanced. And even with a low goal line, he averaged 2.19 shots on target per 90 last season for Palace, which is astronomical, one of the highest numbers I've ever seen. So yeah, Eze would be the player I'd want to get with here.
Yeah, I did look at Eze actually. Shot on target and stuff like that. He's always someone you can back in the score assist market in the player specials. Loads of bets and stuff coming in chat. Sorry, I just can't read them all out. There's so many, but best of luck. Arsenal win and under goals is a popular bet. And let us know where you're coming from, where you're watching from, and who you support. I know in these streams we get a lot of different viewers. So welcome in. And please, if you are new, consider hitting the subscribe button. Totally free, doesn't cost you anything. And also consider signing up to the Betting Weekly newsletter. We get 2 newsletters a week. On Monday's edition, the bet I gave out for the Bodo Glimt game, the line has drastically moved, actually. So you can get your money's worth. And then the Insider comes out on the Friday, where we cover all Premier League games plus several European fixtures. On the Insider, you had a good win on the Insider, didn't you? The weekend. Real Betis getting the job done for you there against Mallorca in the overs. In terms of the money for the game, as you'd expect, 99% of the money is on Arsenal. 86% of the money is on the over for this game. So tough 2 matches, I think, in the early kickoffs. We're looking more at the player props rather than the main markets, I think, from our perspective there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Humble Levallian. Gabriel shot on target looks good if he starts. And I think that would be a good bet in any Arsenal game, really. He's an absolute weapon from those set pieces. I've got the Champions League table, by the way. I forgot to put this up before the first 2 games. This is how the state of play is. Remember, the top 8 teams get a bye through to the round of 16. If you're outside the top 24, then you will be eliminated. 2 teams yet to pick up a point, Ajax and Benfica. And we've got, 5 teams on maximum points, including Arsenal, who we just mentioned there. But it's still quite a long way to go. 5 games remaining. We move on to the late kickoffs now, and we'll start in Madrid. Atletico Madrid against Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. 3 p.m. Eastern time kickoff this one. Atletico Madrid minus 420 favourites. RUSG knocking on the door of being an 11-1 shot here. And an Atletico side who, they are 11-1 actually now, were RUSG. It was a disappointing night for them in London, wasn't it? Simeone looked close to tears actually at the end of that game when they got well beaten up. They were very competitive for an hour. I think Atletico Madrid respond here with a result after the hammering they took. And they've started to look a lot more solid at the back. Clean sheets are starting to come their way again, Will. And ultimately, it would be a big surprise if they didn't at least win the game.
Yeah, largely agree with that. A lot has been said about the fact that Atleti really need to get the win here. But so do Saint-Gilloise. And they're no pushovers, really. I think, Atleti are very strong at home. And yes, they've kept 3 clean sheets in a row domestically, but they did concede chances against Osasuna and against Betis. And let's not forget, in the Champions League so far, they've conceded 4 against Arsenal, 3 against Liverpool, and 1 against Eintracht. And this Union Saint-Gilloise team, another team I've been kind of high on over the years, last couple of years anyway. I've got them the highest rated team in Belgium. They're averaging 1.34 XG supremacy per 90 this season, which is very high. I don't think they're pushovers here. And actually, I think both teams to score yes at plus money is worth a look. It would be a surprise to see Atleti not win the game. And I've kind of tried to figure out a way into Saint-Gilloise here. And I did consider the plus 1 3/4 goal handicap. I did consider over 3, but actually get a bigger price on the both teams to score yes at plus money. And I'm willing to kind of give that a spin.
Yeah, I've got a bet for this game as well, and I'm going to take the over 3 Asian goal line at minus 130. But when the more you mention it, both teams score yes, might be another bet or even a better bet in the game. At the end of the day, I just think Atletico, Steve Gregory makes a good point there. Atletico probably desperate to up the goal difference. There is a crazy stat for them in over 2.5 goals as hit in each of Atletico's last 11 Champions League phase matches. So I think we can see at least 3 goals minimum here. But you're right, if that over 3 goal Asian line does hit, there's probably a good chance that RUSG have scored a goal in it, in fairness. And I think we'll see quite an offensive game. Don't see this being just a 1-0 to Atletico tonight, to be honest. I think they will push on their advantage. Stephen Hall out there in the Philippines. My bookie's closes. We had a typhoon overnight. So he's watching out of loyalty. Thank you very much. The amount of times that people watch these streams from like hurricanes or typhoons or earthquakes, Will, the loyalty is incredible. So fair play to them there. For this game, money splits. 95% of the money's on Atletico Madrid. 91% of the money's on the over as well. The biggest bet on the game is Atletico money line at minus 312. I mean, that's what minus 450 now. So getting a bit of value there. But both teams to score from you and over 3 Asian goals from me. Have you got any player props you eyed up this game or not?
No, I've not in this game. No, in the next game, yes.
Steve from Lynn, Alvarez is plus 450 to get 2 goals. That might be worth a go in this sort of fixture. A really, really good finisher. Let's switch to the next game on the card now. And there is, I think it's the Juventus match. Yes, Juventus against Sporting. Juventus are plus money to beat Sporting, who, again, Sporting travel away in Italy and they face a team who are plus money to beat them, which I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong here, Will, but I just don't see Sporting as that great a side. I mean, I actually headed into the season with Benfica as my best rated Portugal side. You know, that isn't maybe the case now, but Juventus have just changed their manager. I thought they looked pretty good at the weekend, actually. They didn't obviously play anyone that great in Cremonense, but, Spalletti is here now and, maybe they can ride on the crest of a wave from the new manager. Sporting couldn't beat Napoli away, couldn't even get a draw there. So I'd be willing to bet on Juventus here, but I'm interested in your opinions on Sporting Lisbon, actually, more than anything else. Where do they rank, do you think, overall in Europe?
Well, I've actually got Benfica, Sporting, and Porto kind of similar in Portugal. They're pretty much neck and neck in the wider European kind of sphere. Sporting for me, top 20 in Europe, and that's including the teams not playing in Europe: Manchester United, Brighton, AC Milan. So they're up there, and I think it's quite interesting to think about. How do we rate these Portuguese teams? Because, like you say, Sporting Lisbon went away to Napoli with quite a lot of rotation, and Napoli went off plus money. So there are factions of the market that really do like these Portuguese teams and really do like Sporting, and Juve have drifted quite a bit here. And I think for me, I respect that personally. I've got to respect weight of money when it's coming from kind of sharp entities. You've got to respect that. And so I think Sporting are pretty good, and I think they're capable of taking points away from Turin here. Yes, Juve under Spalletti, they might get a new manager bounce, and they did look good at the weekend. It was only a 2-1 win, but against not great opposition. But the underlying stats were good. I think the main line's being priced up correctly here. I would be backing Sporting probably plus a half if we were at the minus 110 that we saw this morning, but it's into about minus 130 now. I think an interesting element in this one is Toyn Koopmans is likely to start in the back three for Juve, as I think he did at the weekend on the left side of that back three, which is interesting, I think, because I've got him more as an attacking midfielder. I don't really see how he fits into a defensive back three, but I think that opens up opportunities to look at Sporting attacking players to pose a threat. And you could target the likes of Trincao, Kenda, Suarez. They're kind of obvious options. The one I like the most is Pedro Gonçalves or Pote at minus 105 to have a shot on target, or plus 225 to score or assist. He kind of came off a long injury layoff last season, and he's averaging 1.92 shots on target per 90 so far this season, which is very, very high. So yeah, that's my bet. Tough to pick a winner here. I'd just be leaning Sporting plus a half.
Yeah, I'm taking Juventus here minus a quarter of a goal at minus 130. I don't see Sporting winning this game. I like to get on the back of new managers that I rate. So I simply have to side with the old lady in this one. But there's a player I really like in this game at the moment, and that it's to score or assist. Dusan Vlahovic. I think he looks really in great form. He wasn't even going to be with the club, was he, after the transfer window? But he stayed at Juventus. He's actually not kicked his toys out the pram. He's worked his way into the side. He looked their best player by a long way, I thought, at the weekend. And he was unlucky not to get on the score sheet there. Minus 115 to score or assist. Lois Openda started against Cremonense, and I'll be honest, he was doing my head in as a Juventus backer. He kept making the wrong decision, or his shooting quality was poor, or his passing was poor. I would like to see Jonathan David and Dusan Vlahovic in the same team together. Whether that's possible, I'm not sure. Hopefully, Openda gets bin to the bench. He's a threat with his physicals and stuff, but disappointing from other perspectives. Vlahovic is different planet, in my opinion, in terms of mindset. So, I mean, you could take him to score anytime at plus 148, but I think let's get the to score or assist on there because he does hold the ball so well as well. So at minus 115, it'd probably be one of my best player props of the day, if not the best player prop I've got. But I do like Juventus minus a quarter of a goal. Quite a few people liking the overs here as well, I think. Juventus do tend to concede quite a few goals, rarely keep a clean sheet. 73% of the money's on Juventus, 86% of the money's on the over. Steve Gregory's in great form today, isn't he? Great comment here. I'm convinced there's only 5 managers in Serie A and they just rotate. It does seem like that, doesn't it? Sai says Porto is a phenomenal team this season. By far the best Portuguese side in my eyes. He might not be wrong there. Porto, it's a bit like that in the Netherlands. Maybe Feyenoord are the best team in the Netherlands this season, but they're not in the Champions League. So,
Steve, on the managers, there was a great tweet going around yesterday that I saw. Something along the lines of 2002, Martin O'Neill is managing Celtic, David Moyes is managing Everton, and I think it was Steve Cotterill. Cheltenham Town, something. And then 2025, the exact 3 names. I mean, it's insane, isn't it? We're talking about managerial merry-go-rounds. I mean, but yeah, another great example of that. Yeah.
Well, it's like some other managers, like Gary O'Neill was going to go back to Wolves. He's ruled himself out of that job now. But we've seen managers go back to clubs. Russell Martin might end up back at Southampton. It's crazy how this seems to happen. It is like a genuine merry-go-round. Okay, let's move on to the match in Norway. Bodo Glimt against Monaco. And this match also forms the first half of your daily double today, Will. Bodo Glimt plus 115, Monaco plus 200, and the tie plus 295. The goal line has gone absolutely berserk in this game now. Over 3.5 goals is at minus 127. It's effectively a 3.75 goal line. Sadly, the days of getting Glimt at, say, plus 200 at home in these sort of games are gone, Will. The books have finally maybe learnt their lesson a little bit. They are now the favourites, but they're not minus money or anything. Monaco recently changed their manager as well. Their results have been all over the place, to be honest with you. What is your take on the match here inside the Arctic Circle?
I like Bodo, Steve. I took them Tino bet yesterday. That is going to be the first half of the daily double. They've been backed in, but I think there's still some meat on the bone. This feels like, to me, the Club Bruges Monaco game in match day 1, where relentless money came for Bruges. Monaco was stuck on their plane. If you remember their photos of the players wearing their shorts topless on the plane, they completely lacked energy and got spanked 4-0. It feels like that to me. Since then, Monaco have got even more injuries. Ansu Fati and Diatta haven't made the trip. You need to be on it going away to Bodo. It's going to be dreary, rainy, cold. And I don't think Monaco are going to be on it. We know that Bodo are strong at home. They were the better team versus Spurs, despite the draw. I expect them to be the better team here. So, whether you like it minus a quarter, minus 110, or you like it on the Tino bet as the first half of the daily double, or you could even get the ladder out and go pizza money on Bodo minus a half at plus 115, -1.5 at +250, or -2.5 at +600. I'm banking on Monaco not really showing up here.
Yeah, this reminds me of the Bodo Glimt against Sturm Graz when I got a bit giddy. Will, you're feeling exactly like I did that night. I'm a little bit more concerned about Bodo today because they have had a really tough fixture schedule. They've not had they've been playing midweeks and weekends all the time. They lost at the weekend domestically to Vålerenga 3-1. Their title destiny domestically is out of their own hands now. They might not win the league this year. But one of the main reasons that the manager Kjetil Knutsen gave at the weekend for the defeat was that they just didn't have the energy. He said they didn't have the energy after the tough run that they've had. But maybe they get the energy back here now. Maybe subconsciously they're focusing on the Champions League. Ultimately, these are the nights they live for. People were mentioning the weather. It is poor weather up there today. I mean, is it ever good weather in Bodo? I don't think it ever is. It's not that cold, but it's certainly not that warm either. And it's rain. And, are Monaco up for the fight? These are players that are used to living in life on the French Riviera. This is a completely different ball game for them now. And we have seen Monaco lay a few eggs, really, haven't we, on their travels this season? They lost against Paris FC. Monaco themselves haven't looked great, by the way, in terms of a scheduling of late. So they may well be vulnerable. The bet I gave out on the newsletter this week on Monday was over 3.25 Asian goals at -108. And now it's -170 for that line. So I can't advise. If someone's not had a bet on the game yet, I couldn't advise going over 3.75 minus money. I just couldn't. So I do hope that I know at least 150 of you, 200 did view that video. So, hopefully you got on that over. I'm very confident there will be bare minimum of 3 goals in the game, hopefully more. And they probably are going to come in the Bodo Glimt end. Let's have a look here. Hauger to score or assist, +110 to Steve from Lynn. Yeah, he's often my go-to man in for them, that's for sure. And it's good to see Bodo Glimt have been backed. Let me just get the data for you for this game, if I can actually find it. 88% of the money on Bodo Glimt, Will. No real surprise, that, is it?
It's a bit of a public play, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they've been a really popular public play for a long time. The only time they let anyone down was the Spurs match in the second leg. That's the only time recently they've let people down. Fantastic record here at home since something like 2020. They have only lost 4 or 5 games at home to anyone in Europe. 16 of the last 20 home games for Glimt in Europe have gone over 2.5 goals, by the way. Okay, just looking through some comments here. Sai reckons that there must be some value on Monaco, but we're not sure about that really at all. The cold rain is going to melt Monaco, says Byron. I think they will struggle. I do think they'll struggle in these conditions in terms of the travelling aspect of it. I'm going to say, I think this could be a wild game, actually. Bodo Glimt 4, Monaco 2. How about that for a correct score?
I mean, the lines do suggest that it's not that unrealistic. So
it's only 18-1.
Yeah,
18-1 for that. But yeah, that's my prediction for this game. You really do like that -1/4 of a ball handicap on Bodo Glimt, and it's the first half of your daily double as well, Will. On the draw double chance part, we'll put the second part on the screen soon. We're going to move to what a mouth-watering game this is. PSG against Bayern Munich. PSG now, well, it's actually +155, the latest odds for them. Bayern Munich +150. The tie's at +275. This is really intriguing because on the Betting Weekly Insider Power Rankings, PSG are ranked number 1. I think we do have Bayern about 3 or 4. But these odds here, Will, would suggest that if the Champions League final was played tomorrow on a neutral ground, that Bayern would be the favourites. And they'd probably be about, +100 pre-match and 90 minutes? That, for me, that doesn't feel right. But I do know that you have always rated Bayern Munich very, very highly in the last 2 years. So I'm interested to hear it from you. A genuine pick'em game in Paris, is that fair?
Yeah, I've been going back and forth with this for quite some time. Can you imagine if this game were a few months ago? What would the line have been then?
We don't have to imagine it, do we? They played against each other in the Club World Cup.
Yeah, well, yes. But if this were in a real game, let's say 3 or 4 months ago,
Well, I think
at the end of last season, let's say Champions League final, what would the line have been here? It would have been PSG minus a quarter, PSG minus a half, and then at home, minus a half, minus 3/4. So the line is kind of at least half a goal. It's moved at least half a goal since then, reflective of their respective form, domestic form. PSG have been good in Champions League, as have Bayern, but yeah, it's strange to see a Tino bet main line here. My contrarian instincts have been all over this, and I've really wanted to pull the trigger on PSG Tino bet, but I can't do it because looking at the Bayern stats, they're just pretty tasty. 2.27 XG supremacy per 90 in the Bundesliga this season. That is the highest by far in the top European leagues. And for reference, PSG in their dominant season last season, 1.69 XG supremacy per 90 in Liga. So Bayern are much, much better than that. And I would argue Bundesliga is stronger than Liga. And then PSG have been poor by their standards, only 0.84 XG supremacy per 90 in Liga. They did win 3 out of 3 so far in the group stages. I wouldn't be writing PSG off yet, far from it. And, they're getting a lot of their main players back from injury. But that kind of rustiness, those players that are coming back from injury, the likes of Dembele, Doué is now out again, Fabian Ruiz, and João Neves, I think Bayern, they're going to be fully revved up here, and PSG might be just a little bit rusty. So it's sadly a no bet for me. I can't bring myself to just look at the kind of human aspects and be like, well, yeah, Bayern are on top form, PSG are rusty, I'm going to take Bayern on the Tino bet. That's not really how I operate. Normally, I'm kind of more about the numbers and the ratings and stuff, but equally, I can't pull the trigger on PSG here. So I'm going to have to sit it out, sadly, from a betting perspective, Steve, which is rare and a little bit frustrating.
I can tell you're a bit frustrated, actually, Will. I can tell you're conflicted. I can tell you want to get involved, and you probably will get involved during the match. Who knows? But I am going to bet on PSG Tino bet here, but it's not a sizable stake because I'm not that confident in them. If this was a knockout match over 2 legs, I would definitely be betting on PSG to qualify. I'll be on that because I still believe in the really big moments. I'm not trusting Vincent Kompany. But in this Champions League phase game, I don't think there's that much jeopardy in these league phases. If PSG lose the game, and they did lose some games in the league phase last season, it's not the end of the earth. They're the sort of team who might want to save their full playing card hand until when it really, really matters in the second half of the season. So, and I feel like for Bayern, it's a statement game. They need to show to people, hold on a minute. We know they beat up every team in the Bundesliga week by week, apart from Dortmund. They want to show to people we can go to Paris, we can get the win with a big dog. So I really think the match actually means more to Bayern Munich. So the only reason I'm going to bet on PSG is because of the odds, because I think fundamentally they should not be, well, they're actually a slight dog now at home. I don't think that should be the case. But am I that confident in them? No. There's probably better bets out there in terms of confidence. But there will be a lot of people watching, a lot of people betting who will make PSG a serious value bet, who rate PSG the best team in Europe. So I think there's going to be a lot of betting action on the game. 79% of the money has been on Bayern Munich, though, in Paris. That just shows you how much of an impact Bayern Munich have had on people this season with the way they've been playing and the results. 91% of the money's on the over. I know a few in chat were saying don't overcomplicate it. Go on the overs here. There's a house special, Harry Kane or Kvisha Kvaratskhelia to score in the first half, that plus 130. So either of those 2 players score in the first half, you would cash. The way Harry Kane's been playing, I don't think you can oppose that bet, Will, on the house special. Would that be a play for you?
Maybe. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about Byron's comment about the Hakimi shot on target. We've been there lots of times before on this show. I did think about it. It depends on how Luis Enrique approaches this, because maybe, just maybe, Hakimi has to play a bit more defensively because of the threat that Bayern possess in those kind of wing forward positions, or maybe he doesn't. So it really depends on how Luis Enrique gives instructions here. But Hakimi, yeah, we've been there before and cashed quite a few winning tickets on him.
He has been very reliable. I do agree with anyone looking in the Hakimi angle. Nuno Mendes as well on the other side. Steve Gregory makes a very good point that these fullbacks can get going. Another massive game, Liverpool versus Real Madrid at Anfield. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this, does it, Will? Liverpool plus 143 to win the game. Last season, these two teams met in the league phase, and Liverpool were minus 125. So how the tables have turned. Real Madrid plus 160, tie plus 290. Have Liverpool really regressed so much and Real Madrid improved so much in the space of a year, Will, to be at a position where Real Madrid, it wouldn't be impossible that they would kick off the match favourite even.
Yeah, you kind of taken the words out of my mouth. Like, the way I look at this match is through the lens of the 3 away games that Real Madrid played in Europe against Premier League teams, top Premier League teams last season. Like you say, Liverpool were -0.5, -3/4 goal favourites, and won, was it 3-0 or 2-0? Won 2-0?
2-0 was the result last year.
Yeah, Real Madrid were also +0.5 away to Arsenal and lost 3-0, and they were +0.5 away to City and won 3-2. So they've gone off +0.5 away to the top 3 Premier League teams last season, and Liverpool are still a top 3 Premier League team, and they're Tino bet here. So where I'm going with this is basically I like Liverpool on the Tino bet. It's up to minus 120-ish now. I think it's minus 125 on Bet Rivers. It's a bit counterintuitive given Liverpool's form this season. I'm not completely sold on this turnaround given the win against Aston Villa at the weekend. And Madrid have been very hot recently, especially since getting Bellingham back from injury. I think he's a big deal for Real Madrid. But still, based off my principles of looking for the value, I think Liverpool Tino bet at minus 125 is the value here. And I'll be betting that. I think the gap between the Premier League teams and the other leagues is generally growing still. For whatever reason, we could probably go into that another day. But Premier League teams collectively going 12 wins, 3 ties and 3 losses in this season's competition, compared to La Liga teams, 6 wins, 1 tie, 5 losses. So I think that says a lot about the relative strength of the leagues. You can make the case that Barca and Real Madrid are kind of in a league of their own within La Liga, but I'm not so sure about that. I still like Liverpool here on the Tino bet. And then also, as part of my daily double, actually, the second leg will be over 2.5 goals here. Hard to see less than 3 goals, isn't it, really? Especially if Liverpool do press like they did against Villa. I can see Real Madrid having the quality to be able to play through that press quite a bit and create kind of 4-on-4s with Mbappe and Vinicius against Conor Bradley and Konate, which is a bit scary as a Liverpool backer. But then likewise, I can see Liverpool nicking the ball quite a lot high up the pitch and hurting Real Madrid. So yeah, over 2.5 there as well.
I think that's a fair enough call. I had a feeling you'd be on Liverpool Tino bet as well, Will, actually. I've got a feeling you might have been on them against Villa at the weekend. I was on the opposite. Villa really badly let me down. Villa's tactics were poor in that game. I don't think Real Madrid will make the same mistake. I'll tell you what bet I do like in this game. There's 2 bets I like. I think Real Madrid's team total over 1.5 is worth looking at minus 132. But both teams to score twice is plus 175. I definitely could see that landing. I could see this being like 3-2 to someone, actually. Don't know which way. Hope for your sake, Liverpool is the direction. I do like both teams score twice. Plus 175. And the team total for Real Madrid is something I'd be looking at as well. Liverpool's team totals generously odds as well, -141 to score over 1.5 goals. I think that's generous. This could be an absolute shootout of a fixture. We do have a house special. That is the daily double, by the way. It's on the screen. Bodo, Glimt, bet, and Liverpool, Real Madrid over 2.5 goals at +122. Congrats to Lewis Jones yesterday, who won his daily double. We have got 66% of the tickets actually on Real Madrid for this game, which is interesting. 98% of the money's on the over in the over-under market. And there's a house special, another first half house special, which I don't even think you'll be able to resist, Will. Mo Salah or Kylian Mbappe to score in the first half at even money. That has to be a bet, that one. That's even better than the other house special today. That is a huge dangling carrot, especially the way that Kylian Mbappe has been playing of late. And Mo Salah, he did get a goal against Villa, and he could be, his confidence and tail might be up. Even you're not opposing that one, right?
I'm wondering just logistically whether I can get myself a Bet Rivers account for that one, Steve. But that does sound quite tempting.
Yeah, very, very tempting indeed. Thank you, everyone who's been joining in live on various different channels on X, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch as well. Really appreciate your support today. Loads of you watching, loads of comments. We've still got 2 games to discuss. We've got Tottenham against FC Copenhagen. Tottenham -265, FC Copenhagen +750, and the tie is at +380. Over 2.5 goals, -143. This might be very, very short-termism of me, Will, but part of me wants to really oppose Spurs after what happened at the weekend. Very, very disappointing performance against Chelsea. 1 shot in the second half. When I see that, I'm like, I have no faith in them at all. But it's been so blown out of proportion with everything. I'm just wondering if Spurs might respond. And then I look at it. Hold on, Premier League against Danish Superliga. Use your head, Steve. But I didn't like what I saw from Spurs. I've not liked what I've seen from them in the Champions League, Will, in any match. They've been, Monaco completely obliterated them, but the goalkeeper saved them. Would you want any part of Spurs tonight? -265 on the money line.
No, I wouldn't. No way. It's not just you that's not been convinced by Spurs, Steve. There's been a big move here for Copenhagen on the Asian handicap. The line's gone from +1.5 overnight to +1.25 this morning. That's a big move, and I wouldn't be surprised if that move continues. Yes, it's Danish versus Danish league versus English Premier League, and yes, Copenhagen are not in good form themselves. But Spurs if you're going to be backing Spurs here on a big handicap, or you're going to be on a big total 2.75, you need Spurs to be creating more from open play. And they're just not. They created 0.11 XG against Chelsea. And we don't want to be too knee-jerk, but that kind of continues a pattern of low XG creation from open play for Spurs. And although there is a big talent gap here, I can see the money continuing to come for Copenhagen, and I'm actually considering jumping on under 2.75 here at -109 because, you can't have much confidence in Spurs creating a lot of big chances here. It's just a lean for me, I think, at the moment, whilst I let it marinate a bit more. But, really Spurs should be scoring 2 or 3 against an opponent of this level. But, lean on under 2.75.
The Spurs total shots line with Bet Rivers, by the way, is 13.5, over 13.5 shots at -125, which that seems really low for a Premier League side against a Superliga side. But after the weekend, maybe Thomas Frank might say to some of the players, have a crack. Just get the fans off my back and have a crack. But I've got written down here 3 sort of potential bets, and I think I've got a little bit giddy here in the wrong way, actually. I've got the +1.25 Asian handicap down for FCK. I've got draw no bet +416. I even looked at the money line at +750. When it rains, when it pours, I feel like I'm getting carried away. I feel like I'm getting carried away a little bit with Spurs here. But it wouldn't surprise me if they would really pour again. when the mood gets down at Spurs, it stays down. It doesn't change that quickly. So let's just see. I'm still umming and ahhing what to do about it. I do like that under angle. I think they don't. I mean, was it 1-0 against Villarreal, 0-0 against Monaco? I forgot a 2-2. I mean, Bodo outplayed them massively as well.
Yeah, I think they lost the XG battle in all 3 of those games. Actually, I know they did against Bodo, and I know they did against Monaco. I remember thinking that they did against Villarreal as well. So yeah. Not too encouraging at Spurs at the moment.
No, it's not. It's not encouraging at all. And Thomas Frank obviously not used to playing in Champions League, managing in the Champions League or Europe for that matter. It might be that he has a problem differentiation between league and domestic and international matches. Let's just have a split for this game where I can find it. 83% of the money on Tottenham, just 61% of the money on the over, which suggests it's not well fancied at all. 3 of Tottenham's last 4 Champions League games have resulted in a draw. What is the odds for the tie for this game? Probably about plus 400, is it? Something like that. Plus 370. Asai was reading their forum today, and it's such a negative vibe. And that's my point with this club. It just stays really, really low when something starts to go wrong. They're talking about removing Thomas Frank as the manager. The third or fourth in the Premier League table. But at the same time, I'm sensing that Thomas Frank might not be a Spurs type boss either. Just a gut feeling. We've got one final game to discuss today. Olympiakos against PSV Eindhoven. Olympiakos plus 145, PSV plus 170. Nigel Seeley's out there in Athens, of course, at the moment. Because we win. He was at the VIP at the ATP event today. The tennis. I don't know if he managed to get a ticket for this game in the end or not. PSV very slight underdogs in this game. We mentioned it off air. Will, tough place to go, Olympiakos. Plus 145. That's going to tempt a few in, surely.
Yeah, we're going to have to wheel out the old cliche. It's a tough place to go, and yeah, if PSG go there and get 3 points, it'll be. Well, it won't be a total surprise, right? Because I think my conclusion when it comes to this game is really anything could happen, and no result would surprise me. I mean, if you look at the results of these 2 teams so far in the Champions League, there have been some wild scorelines, and there have been some pretty underwhelming scorelines. So I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in this one.
So I'm just getting amused by some of the comments about Thomas Frank. Duncan said he looks like a ski instructor. Byron said he looks like a Bond villain. He's an interesting character, that's for sure. I don't have a clue about the result either, Will. Like, I think I need a 3-sided coin for match result. If I was to bet on this game, it would be the overs. I think I would go overs.
It's pretty high line. Is it 3?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, if I had a free $50 bet or something, I'd go over 3 on the Asian line at minus 115. But that's not really anywhere near a value bet, is it? I'd want to be 2.75 absolute minimum. Ideally 2.5, really. So this is one of those games where the books, sometimes you just got to admit sort of the books have got it in a position where you don't want to be betting on, and the value is probably the other way, even though you don't fancy it as such. Byron says PSV team total over 1.5 at minus 104. That could be worth looking at. Let's just see how it goes for Olympiakos. They're an intriguing side. Where's the betting breakdown for this? 61% of the money's on Olympiakos, but 75% of the tickets are on PSV. And 98% of the money is on the over for the game. Sai says, great show. Well done. All the best tonight. And he's going on Monaco to win by at least 2. He's wow. That would be a really big result for Monaco if they were to get that outcome. That's for sure. But yeah, Will, once again, thanks so much for your time and thoughts on the games. Let's just give us a reminder. Let's give you your best bets for today, and we'll remind people of the Daily Double as well.
First of all, if I may, I'm just going to throw in a cheeky player prop from that Olympiakos PSV game. I should have probably finished with that, but I was hoping you'd have something on the main lines so we could go a bit back and forth. But I'll Gus Till What do you know
Right.
about Gus Till, Steve? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I am actually. He's got me some goals at times when I
Well,
needed them.
he is playing a kind of as a makeshift 9 for PSV. I think since Ricardo Pepi has been out. I think Pepe's back now from injury, but I think Gus Till is going to continue in that partnership with Sabiri, which has been quite fruitful recently. And he is -105 to have a shot on target or more, and he's +190 to score or assist, and that tickles my fancy quite a bit. He's chipped in with 5 goals in 7 Eredivisie starts this season, and he averages 1.06 shots on target per 90. So we're not going to finish with a game with no bets. There's the player prop, and yeah, we love a player prop on this show, don't we?
We do. He's even money for a shot on target now, Gus Till.
Wow.
And +190 to score or assist. So that I've got a good feeling about that bet now. Actually, I really do. We sign off with a winner. Thanks everyone who's joined live or on demand. There's been so many of you in the chat today, and as I say at the top of the show, unfortunately I can't get through everyone today because there's so many of you coming in. But if you are new to the show, please consider signing up to the Betting Weekly newsletter. 2 newsletters a week, Monday and Friday, and Friday's edition is of course the Insider, which is an in-depth edition. Hit that like button. We want to get as many likes as we can for this video, and if you are new again, it would be great if you could subscribe to the channel. So yeah, once again, what is the best bets for you today? And we will recap the Daily Double as well.
I think the best bet is the Bodo. I think the best bet is probably the Daily Double. Tino bet, Bodo Glimt, and over 2.5 Liverpool Real Madrid at +125 or +122 if it's shortening.
There you go. The best bet, the Daily Double. I tell you what, I think is a really, really good bet is that house special in the Real Madrid game. Mo Salah or Kylian Mbappe to score in the first half at evens. I think that's a great bet. But of my own bets, there's a lot that I do like here. I do like that over 3 Asian line, Atletico Madrid against RUSG. Juventus -0.25 goal as well. And my best player prop has got to be Vlahovic to score or assist in that game, -115. And I'm in love with that newsletter bet that I gave out on Monday, but only on Monday's lines, over 3.25 goals in the Bodo Glimt game. If that match does start and it is somehow 0-0 early on, and you get a line and the match does seem open, absolutely get on in running. But I couldn't advise over 3.75. Yeah, over 2.5 would be a nice parlay piece for people interested in short odds there. But thanks so much, Will. What a show! So much we got through there. Felt really exciting. We'll see you soon on Betting Weekly live again. Remember, everyone, to gamble responsibly. Let's hit those winners tonight, big style. I'll see you tomorrow with Nigel Seeley from Athens, hopefully. And see you next time. Take care, all. Goodbye.